Why does he have an unlicensed Harris in play? Whoa. Time remaining 1 minute 26. I would auto concede to Ginger. Let's draw it on untapped land. That works. Alright, we are able to chart. Maybe discard Phoenix. Maybe discard the Cruise. Found you from the Legendary Humans list. How was it? It was terrible. Don't play it. It's not worth it. I tested God Eternal Captain versus Red Black last night and actually felt decent. Pretty resilient where Drake would have died to Rending Volley, Obliterating Bolt. But they also play countless other cards that counter you. Like, that sounds kind of useless, right?
He's a phenomenal control player.
They play Pusha and Dreadbore. How would you want to for a creature to like this to stay on the battlefield? That's insane to me. I don't get this at all. He doesn't even have Obliterating Bolt. He's not gonna have Obliterating Bolt. He's probably doesn't even Cyber Rending Volley. Where does that silly idea come from? I need to re-update the score because my OBS closed. Well, they can't answer permanently, but why do they need to answer permanently? I don't think they need to. Sounds pretty wrong to me. It's not get stomped, although he always attacks, so it's not clear. I'm just a coward. Fable Snack, I cannot spell Pierce, the Fable. There's no cards. Why not pitch the Pierce? Because this gives me an occasion to pitch one Phoenix. I have the Phoenix in my graveyard, so make him tap the hairs. Doesn't really accomplish much, but I can do stuff with Pierce. I'll pitch it next time. Though, and I can pitch two Phoenixes. If I draw Braid, right? I have pitched a Phoenix and I discard. I guess if I draw Braid. Okay, you're right. But if he wants to discard the iteration, then he needs to exile it now. He took the Phoenix. Okay. Sure, that's interesting discard. Probably taps now. I would not hate Sweltering Suns here. I'm still pretty high on lowercase Drake, but Captain certainly felt good in a few spots. Sure. I mean, I don't know. To me, it seems insane, but like the level to which it is obvious to me that I don't want to play a card like this is pretty high. Damn. Yes, there's one draw here. He could attack me with the Unlicensed Horse, activate Manland. He didn't draw anything. It's a Goblin's attack, so I guess we're gonna eat a Goblin. This is what, 6, 9? Go to 5. He does have the treasures to cast something still, so that could be kinda nasty. He deploys some spells. Dreadbore. Fantasy. Two Phoenixes extra, with 2 more Phoenixes in my deck. That'll be good to get some blockers. Get a bunch of looks. Easy come. Take more removal. Let's cruise. Kill that man. I think piece is gonna get pitched. Fortunately, we got a non-red source, which could prove to be problematic. In fact, I can die, right? Because if you activate Smudland, cruise with the new Kiki on this, then I die. I think something to consider about cards in this matchup is also how good of a top deck they are later after trading resources and when they are the last thing standing. Crackling Drake enjoys that as it just kills, so it likes to be in that spot. After resources have been traded, like Crackling Drake, in a spot like this does decently. But right now, I guess we do die. Although we're gonna have to wait for him to do stuff. But yeah, I don't want to play Planeswalkers. The Planeswalkers, they die to Manlands. Even if they're the last thing standing, you're gonna like, they play a creature, you play Planeswalker, kill it, and your Planeswalker gets reverse killed by the Hive. If you plus on an empty board, you often risk getting the red board. It's like very narrow windows for Planeswalkers to excel. This one I'm pretty sure about. The record right now, kiddos, it is an exercise to the reader to find the record on the screen. This is match 1. It's an exercise to the reader. If you look hard enough, you'll find it. I bet it. Well, we technically don't actually die, but it requires me to perform a horrible sacrifice of chump blocking this. But then you can draw a Sweltering Sands. I think the difference between 4 and 5 toughness is minimal because they have up to 8 copies of removal that don't check toughness. Should have killed before combat, right? What do I think about Murmuring Mystic? Bros, what reality do you live in? I don't get you sometimes. Narrowly by the skin of my teeth. And also dealing 3 damage immediately to punish Castle Locktwain. Very nice. We die to a Trespasser if it's ever drawn. Actually, no, this doesn't have Trespasser. Trespasser doesn't kill. No creatures in the graveyard right now. How many matches total will you play? Until I have 4 awfully crashed, Derek. But from how those games look, I'm pretty sure that Search for Ascanta is not particularly good. The 4th cruise, I think, seems pretty good as long as Go Blank isn't present. I'm not sure if that's the like most worthwhile. On the best draws. Rudy hits and he's like Ginger, good. Wow. Pushing over. What about Inspired Idea over Cruise? Is that 5 mana draw 4 and your hand size is small? Why not Pierce the push? Probably would be better. Okay, let's focus. Inspired Idea. I think you really don't want to cast that. Have you given any thought to invoke the winds? A little bit, but looking at how those games play, I find it unlikely that it's super great. I think that Spears and that Policy Mass, it probably was good, yeah, I agree, I should have Spell Pierced. Spell Idea is a 5 mana draw 3 cards. You don't want to cast the free cost option. Vance's Blasting Cannon runs into the issue of not doing too much, so I didn't like it for that reason. Lepszy niż maślaczek. Probably would win if I Spell Pierced. So I have 11 cards in my deck. I have one more Phoenix and some Shredders. Could kill this. I guess it is Sweltering Sands for now. Let's go! Search for a Skanta, huh? Crackling Drake would have looked more inspiring here. He's on 6, so he's gonna die really soon. Four. I don't bother in the young Pyromancers. Have a hold. Is it random or put in any order? Any order. How many Trespassers? I think all Trespassers are left. Just a bit threatening. This is awkward because if I cast it now, then I don't have ways to deal damage. That kills him next time. He did discard Dreadbore. Yeah, there's also Storms, and Storms also auto kill, which is tough. No. I feel like I slightly entered this game. So Derek wins the matches, but it's very doable. It's very interesting games actually. Guess current match is gonna be 0-0. Gonna go properties 0, 2. So I'll swap search for a crackling drake. Also not sure if Behold is better than a crackling drake, but let's keep playing with it a bit because I haven't. It was duress a few times. Notice no Vance's cannons. I already tried Vance's cannons to the point where I knew it's not what I want. It's so bad. It's too bad. The few games I played with it in play, or I've seen it in play, it doesn't play lands. I think I'll do 2
He's
Drake,
a
1 Behold. I could see
control
that, yeah.
player.
Hi.
But I want the 4th cruise for now still. But yeah, what I like about Drake is that it's a card advantage spell too, so it does kill. Are there any nice artifacts to play? What for? Outpost Siege plays lands, yeah, but it's also not super. I don't think I want. I think those effects don't clear the bar of a non-instant or sorcery card too. Oh no, I played plenty of Drake. I know I like Drake a decent amount. I don't need to be partly more thorough because I think like Drake's my go-to. What do you think of Saheeli? I think Saheeli is an option you could run. Not sure if she's excellent though. She has the upside of being pretty good against blue-white control too. Wait, did he mess like play draw? Okay, because I'm going first now. Two one LFG, yeah. No, what is 1-2 would be. I took a walk to Poland. The walk to Poland. Took the walk to Poland. I'm also counting last match as a win. Okay. Let's keep this. Where does the little Yachty live? Walking to Poland, that's like a pretty long walk probably from Assume somewhere in States. And also, frankly, not very possible. You don't like Sahili in this matchup? Bro, did you just ask me what do I think of Sahili? And what did I say? I said, I think it's an option to play, but not a hyper one, but I would not be opposed to play her. I did have her in my sideboard at times, and does not have fail push. Could have Dreadbore. Probably I want pieces or puzzles or land drops. Well, it does not always say to Dreadbore for no value, because you get the tokens if you lived. But she's a little bit clunky to play from what I've played with her so far. Yeah, Dreadbore was pretty likely, but I'm fine. Found pieces, good. They have no Dreadbore and push, and also Dreadbore is not super for them to keep. You can ask Derek how he sideboards exactly. Also, kind of a combo with Crackling Drake. Kinda want to make a land drop. I could discard a trespass, just ignore trespasses. Not sure, maybe a waste, but get a draw 2 regardless of which one he takes. It's a bit tricky as to how good is it to deploy a Shredder early in the game. It's not actually mind-blowing necessarily. Took the pieces after much deliberation. Ooh, nice. So we can try to return the Phoenix at the cost of a card. We've got pretty good odds. And I think that puts me in a pretty commanding position. So I should cruise first and then chart probably then. I guess we can cruise first and then chart anyways, like however we want. Seems good. Connive this for size and discard a land from cruise. Court, of course, if we draw 2 more lands, we cannot regret, but... So draw Phoenix, okay, good. Well, the upside of the cruise is just strictly better versus this spot, so definitely should play it first. Which good thing we did. But I think the game 1 matchup is really good. So you should try to like tackle the hate and not destroy your deck too much in the process. That's kind of the goal. Sure. Like this has 1 card in hand right now. Like what? Game just kind of insane. How bad his decks looks right now. Can go Shredder pieces. And he move. He did move to 6. On the draw though. I should have opted response the connive in the last turn. He clearly struggled with the first shredder, so he probably doesn't have a removal for the second one. Seems okay to me to play shredder and pieces. Don't feel like he boards in that much though. Oh, 2 phoenixes. He did get a few timely go blanks. The heresies to which you're gonna have more answers in the future at DRC. But it does change, you know, a bit. Like his sideboard is 2 hairs and 3 duresses too. The duresses too pretty timely. Often take the pieces or take the cruise and prevent me from popping off. More braids in the board. This is going to be Brotherhood's and there is no need for more braids. Unfortunately, it is not yet. I think Trespass is pretty obviously bad. No, I don't want more braids. Those will be braids. Those will be Disenchants, bros. Yeah, you can Cyborg Extinction even. I don't think it's often a great strat though, because it kind of doesn't combat the card advantage in hand, which Phoenix has. Don't want to bother a chart.
He's a phenomenal control player.
Gonna board out one of those and one of those. Oh, let's board out Spikewheel Hazard. Instead of a Shredder. James Andrew, thank you for your Prime Gaming subscription. I will play 2 Abrade, 2 Brotherhood's End. 3 mana sweepers are not good enough to play 3 copies of them. They're kinda clunky. They're supposed versus decks that are supposedly good against where you can't cast them, so they can be blowouts, but they can also be pretty lame. Send is functional. Is there a cyber guide for this deck I can read somewhere? I'm releasing one Monday. What is the name of the bro card? Brotherhood's End. It depicts Mishra and Urza falling apart and starting to hate each other. It's kind of awkward, but let's do this. What happened in the Chaya deck? I thought it was gonna be good. I don't like Planeswalkers in this matchup. They don't help. They don't seem to meaningfully help. They died to Dreadbore or Manlands, so it's kinda narrow. Alright, I'll discard a Phoenix. We're on the draw here. Crackling Drake is a card advantage card that cannot be duress too, and a good top deck. Ooh, great draw. Took my cruise, understandably. Missed a land drop, could be any array of 3 drops. Probably gonna hit a land with this. But yeah, I think Pieces is also one of your better cards and better top decks, and you really don't want to make it weaker. For example, right now we hit a Cruise and a Behold, right? And, you know, if you would cut some cards for Molten Creatures, you could also destroy that. And the Cyber Threat has stood out, yeah. Drake. I mean, the Cyber Threat, or rather, the threats don't stand out too much, but it's the Drake. And the Drake just kills in a turn. Awkward. I don't need to axe this. If he kills my Phoenix, he can eat it. That's an argument for going opt, maybe luck into a second Phoenix. Kill, get a Phoenix. Trying to open ourselves to Jolder. We could also upgrade this. Let's upgrade. Upgrade is good, yeah. That way we get the bird, there's no guy, we pressure the life total, we have a full hand, we have a Joldered answer, we have 2 draw 2s potentially with the Charta course. Yeah, that's kinda awesome. Ha, now that I made you spend your upgrade, I play Unlicensed Heirs. Ah, sure, bro. So here, if this was Brotherhood's End, I probably would cast it to destroy artifacts. Don't want to make Peace weaker, but you still need something that is good versus Graveyard because the Graveyard Filling aspect isn't as good. No, well, it still fits. After Pieces, it's still relatively easy to cast a Cruise, but I can see like having 2 Drakes and a Behold in the sideboard. Wait, is he making Hairs? No, it's game 2, I'm sorry. Properties. How has Behold the Universe been? Looks pretty okay this game, but... How does Crackling Drake work with Behold and Forte? Well, it's not an... you don't know it's an instance, so... If it's face down, it has no properties. It doesn't have a card type when it's face down. But it is a good question. Now move to the end step. And in the end step, I'm going to foretell. There's also an option to play Memory Deluge, but you're never flashing it back, so I think the upside, the slight upside is better. Why question mark? Why did I move to my end step? Just to show we can, yeah. Well, portal cards don't count for Drake. They shouldn't fight the rules of the game. No reason they should. And yeah, the upside of Forte is pretty nice versus Fotsies. Red red source potentially. Maybe I should set this to red. Define doesn't even sound too terrible, only slightly. Damn. Epiphany. I mean, it is kinda cap. But a shoulder looks embarrassing here. Gonna keep pieces. Do I want to keep opt? Has one card in hand. I mean, opt's good. Probably. Take a draw step. See if pieces fit. Can take 2 more life to have a shot at Phoenix again. Can pay 2 more life. It's kind of tricky. Not sure. Why are we spending the opts instead of the consider? Because I can consider after a shoulder and still have an extra shot at milling a Phoenix. Which I'll do now. So like if I reveal a Phoenix now, I still get it in my graveyard. But I can like manipulate the amount of life I will lose to Joldred. I guess that makes me awkward against second Joldred. Spending life on those opts. Spending life? Ooh, blitzing the dog. If we are gonna top off, you shouldn't have cast into shoulder, I think. Quite possibly.
He's a phenomenal control player.
Woo.
Actually, better to be in a second. I mean, I could, but what I can lose to, I guess it's just Joldred, right? I'll discard Pierce, keep the 4th land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think we're gonna deck. No. He's gonna deck. If Joldred's after double bear, he's double board. Okay. Good point, I guess. Oh no, I'm gonna deck. Oh. It's probably shouldn't cast that because it's like technically dangerous. Yes! Yes! We have won a match! Was they 2-0? A clean 2-0? 2-0 sweep? Why no TT? It's hard to fit space. It seems like he wants to play again. I asked him on Discord if he wants to talk, but let's play. Have we tweaked things at all between matches today? Yes. TT is great against Mono Green, which is best deck. It's pretty good against Mono Green, yeah. It's pretty not great against most other decks, though. So it's like just a balancing act of trying to make a deck that's good against people at large. Also, Mono Green being the best deck, it's also kind of a myth, but also what is important is having a plan, which I feel favored against Mono Green with no thing in the ice in the main deck too. 2-2 in matches. No, we're playing the 4th match. Unless you count the one where he scooped because he took the play and I was supposed to take the play. I mean 1-2, in that case you are correct. Ooh, tap land. Nice utility land, bro. Should we opt? There's kind of reasons not to opt. I think I'll opt. It's kind of cool. I think it's pretty strong versus Mono White and Spirits too. It's fine versus Mono White Spirits, although it's no versus Mono White, but it's not my favorite because of Cathar and Skyclave Apparition, because it incentivizes you to play in a way where you kind of let them build a big board and then you want to flip it all back, but you get blown out pretty hard by them having the timely Brutal Cathar. So I think it's probably better than a replacement card. I'm not entirely sure if it's better than Spikewheel Hazard against those decks. Are you not expecting 40% or more Mono Green on Sofia? No, no way. Mono Green in Warsaw was like, what, 13%? I don't think it's gonna be like 20% tops. And also, I feel like my matchup is favored. But I am considering playing a thing in the ice in the main deck. Was just trying to find a spot for the 4th Lightning Axe to respect both Joltred and Adeline a bit more, but I'm gonna be thinking about other ways to do so. Push. I've tried a strat of cutting all my 2-drops versus white winning, worked but low confidence. They do tend to board lots of removal, but I think that's overall kinda inting. Sure, John, you can like DM me on Discord and I'll look into that after the stream. I think the meta invite only events is more insular. I could see more green, maybe 30%. Okay. Are you thinking of having only Impulse over a Braid? No, I will have a Braid. I've honestly never really felt that the sequence of playing spells for things somehow jeopardize your game plan if they have an answer. Well, you're incentivized to cantrip instead of casting removal spells, right? It's not the biggest, but I think there is a certain level of risk. And I mean, I've certainly been blown out by playing Thing and relying on it, and Brutal Cathar was pretty brutal. No, I will have the Abrades versus Red Black. That's like the reason for me to play Abrades still. Don't know what to do here. I could Treasure Cruise. It's kind of a good idea. Yeah, cutting one thing versus White Winnie is... I respect that. Could also copy Cruise, but that feels like... Hardcast Phoenix, what the heck? Sounds terrible. I think we Cruise, we're gonna hope to find a removal spell. Awkward. Yeah, I want to be able to kill Hares. Like, I think if I kill Hares and I can Cruise and then I can win. It's gonna push my Phoenix. But that's okay, needs another one. So it's a bit of an awkward turn because we haven't found much useful. The Cruise, so we are kinda open for Joldred. Wrecking me a bit. Okay, Trespasser is fine. It's Pathway Red there. I can Pathway Red on the next turn too, so I don't see the upside. And blue is much better than red. I like wrapping removal. I don't know. I don't think wrapping matters. Well, he's gonna not play his creature. I thought I cast 3 spells, honestly. Lol. But one of them was Shredder. Oh, I'm shouldering. Oh. Interesting. Can... I can draw 2 with char, it's fine. I can... 1, 2... I can also pay 6 mana, kill it, take the extra turn, and then... attack for 2. Or you could just cast chart, draw 2, discard 1, and we still have to... Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would just take 8. I don't know, it seems like taking 8 is a bit inting. I think if I have lifesteal, I can't lose. This feels game winning and also not opening 2 losses. Is this D4 of Lightning Axe? I don't know. I didn't like 4 Lightning Axe. I think they clog you too much because you draw multiples. It's pretty horrible. So actually not the biggest fan of it from those games. Crackling Drake I think's pretty good, TBH. Like Axe discard Cruise into iteration plus chart. Yeah, but then I discard Cruise, that's kinda inting. I think I don't want to rush anything. Is it wrong to play more than 1 Drake on the board? No, it is not wrong. Probably will play 2. So I don't know, another Joldred is potential threat, but I also haven't taken much damage to be okay against that. Caritas, sure. Caritas is so embarrassing, bros. I will play the Pyro too. I think those cards are for different matchups. In my view. Kalda Splash Push would have been okay, kinda. Wouldn't change much. I view Pyromancer as a card for just different matchups than Red Black. I think it's Highness versus Red Black, it's great versus like Blue White. I mean, it is good to have Axe available readily. I just kinda drew it at an opportune spot. Let's try to have them in the deck still. Can trim a Shredder. Pierces a card I become uncertain about, yeah. Did you have 3x before today? Yes. Will you be testing new cards with bro cards for Sofia? Yeah, I've tested a bit in paper. I know what I like mostly. Like in Phoenix, it's just Brotherhood's End. Trim A Phoenix. Maybe Trim A Phoenix is better than Trim A Shredder, but it's kind of... I think in this matchup, it's kind of weird. Are you thinking of replacing the Pyro with the new from Bro? There is merits to that. It's basically Brave the Elements out of red, out of mono white, plus triggering of any artifacts or enchantments if you play those, or planeswalkers. If you don't, what? You took the Shadow, probably under Thoughtseize. The downside is being mystically disputed, and I think the downside outweighs the upside. I think iteration is great in this matchup. I think it's good when it works. It's a bit awkward at times. I'd say I kept one. Good draw. He's never gonna suspect this. Also volleyed in the mirror. Yeah, I mean, I don't think people should bring volley, but if they do, then do that. So volley too. Some decks bring volley, and that's also relevant. Ooh, so nice. Well, I won't need a second one. Although he could just blitz the dog on the next turn. Is Black Red officially dead? Yeah. Oh, he actually did blitz the dog. Cutting some Phoenixes and Charts. I think Chart's a good card. But yeah, I think controlling is good, and I think Pyromancer for that reason is terrible, but... Did he move? He moved to 6 again, yeah. We moved when he lost, by the way, true.
He's a phenomenal control player.
Love Phoenix.
Will there be a guide to your Phoenix list? Monday. Shit. Timely. How will you celebrate the Nash in November? I will stream. Is Sofia this weekend? It's next weekend.
He's a phenomenal control player.
Will you eat Rogal on stream? Yeah, I guess I can go and buy one, that's true. They'll sell me one tomorrow, I'll eat one. Yeah, I don't mind casting Phoenix either, it's kinda okay. Wow, this deck should run mission briefing, okay. I don't think it should, but it could. But yeah, like some games, Red Black is such a pathetic deck, it's hard to describe. Some games it beats you up and it hits you from all angles. Stomp. They could like proactively counter the giant. Would need to spend the mana or take 2 more damage. He might
He's
not
a
be able to play this turn.
control player.
I mean, you can impulse the giant when it comes down. Cruz. Thanks. Yeah, I said 7 life, so an attack of the hole gets him. So you can exile the Phoenix anyway, so we should exile the Phoenix because of Trespasser. And Drake. Hall is so good in this deck. I had thoughts about playing just 1 hall, but I think 2 halls would be kind of based. It's kind of based. Don't need a third red, I already spent my sweepers. Okay, hall is quite good, I agree. But basically, Treasure Cruise can outpace unlicensed hairs, and it's not super hard to do so. It's hard to outpace Go Blank. What about Vantress? No. No, bro, you don't Vantress. I mean, Vantress... Have you ever seen me pass with 5 mana? And not spend those 5 mana? Especially in the games I'm winning. The Mulching Rakdos Green... I mean, it's 2-2 in matches right now, although... It's 6-4 in games. Yeah, we're gonna start chatting with Ginger after this. But those games were also close and easy to mess up. Momentum on our side, definitely. Alright, stopping the music. Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me, Derek?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, seems like the chat can also hear you. I hope.
All right.
Chat,
All right,
let me know,
my
chat.
chat. My chat, can you hear Canister?
Raz, dwa, trzy, test.
He's a phenomenal control player.
Yeah.
Do
Okay,
you
cool.
think the new Urza
All
can
right,
make
Derek, so
artifact
I have
strategies
first
like the
question I have
Colossus
for
or
you.
Paradox engine viable in Pioneer?
Is what is your cyborg strat? This matchup. What is that you do?
I bring in the 3 duress, 1 go blank, 2 unlicensed hearse. I cut 2 Kalidas, 2 bone crusher, the abrade, and a croxa.
The 3 Duress, Go Blank, unlicensed hairs, you cut 2 Kalitas, 2 Bone Crusher, and a Croxa. That's 5 cards. Something else?
The abrade.
Yeah, understandable. Crocs are a bit weird right now with the bug, right? Because I assume it's pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't know how you would sideboard. I know you have Pyros in your sideboard. I know for a long time people thought Pyros were good against red-black, so I was leaving in some amount of Bone Crushers, but with the bug, I would also the other consideration is leaving in the second Croxa and cutting a Bone Crusher, but I like Bone Crusher sometimes against you, and I don't know if you're bringing in Pyro or not, so I think it's okay to have the second one over the second Croxa, but...
Well, we did not see a Pyromancer in 4 matches, and that is because they haven't sideboarded them in.
Yes.
Like, conceptually, it makes very little sense to me. I know that it's like the default hive mind plan, the thing that people repeat, that, oh yeah, Pyro is great against red-black because it beats Graveyard Hate or something, but you're bringing a 2-1 creature that relies on surviving to produce value against a deck with 4 push Bone Crushers and also the Dreadbores, right? Which sounds like lunacy to me.
Yeah, the most important thing, I think, because Shredder is very similar in that regard, you need it to survive, but the impact of Shredder is a lot more, it's a lot more impactful than Pyro is. Because Pyro just makes a 1/1. I don't care about a 1/1. A Shredder is so much more problematic if you can activate it on turn 3, even if you get 1 activation out of it. If you activate Pyromancer,
deals 2 damage, right? So
yeah, exactly. When people were bringing in Pyro, I was blown away. They're like, yeah, red-black cuts Bone Crushers. And it's like, I just won't cut Bone Crushers. You understand this, right? But yeah.
So my impression how this matchup goes is that in general, the Rakdos deck struggles a lot against the card Treasure Cruise. It's kind of hard to beat. It's once it resolves, you draw 3, then it's easy to fuel the next one. Which is why I have the 4th one in the sideboard. Right now, I'm not hyper convinced of that, but just a pattern I've noticed is that when you start drawing cards, when the cards are flowing, then Rakdos looks frankly like a pathetic deck compared to Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some truth in that. I generally agree that Treasure Cruise is a very powerful card, and just having more resources in the grindy matchup, I think, is really important. I wouldn't say that Treasure Cruise specifically is the thing that swings it, in my opinion. But I do agree with you that snowballing off the first Treasure Cruise is very important. And I think one of the ways that Phoenix loses the matchup is if their Treasure Cruises can't be cast. And
sure, go on.
And if red-black can keep up with that card advantage. And there's a series of ways to do that. It's not often something that happens, but it can happen.
Well, you said that you don't think that Cruise swings the matchup, but I would estimate that most of the games that you win are the games where you are able to pressure my graveyard and my resources. So I can't cast the first Cruise, and then I can't pop off and go cruising and winning. And that's really tough to win at times, because then my top decks are bad, Cruise is not an out, but instead a dead draw, etc. But in every game where I get to cast the Cruise, that inevitably leads to the second Cruise, even if you have the Hairs in play, right? So I would argue that it's pretty swingy. It does swing the games.
Yeah, I don't think Cruise is the thing that does it, though.
So what do you think?
I think Cruise is a result of that happening. So the thing that I think swings the matchup the most is Shredder. Cruise is obviously very good. Yeah, Shredder. I think if I don't kill a Shredder early, I'm losing. And there was a game where you had 3 shredders. I killed the first one. You played the second one on turn 3 and played a cantrip, and I like was almost 100% sure I was losing the game on the spot because I couldn't answer the second one. And like it no longer matters if I Thoughtseize you or if I put a threat into play. If you have any response to my plays, your shredder's just what pushes you over the edge. And so like I said, cruise is important when you can resolve it and when like it snowballs you. But my biggest issue with cruise is not its best case, which is when you can cast it and resolve it. It's worst case, and which is how I'm beating you. So that's why I don't think it swings the matchup, because I like obviously casting a cruise is important, but it doesn't just win you the game, and it costs a lot for you to do that. It takes turns. You're not normally doing it before turn 4. If you are doing it on turn 4, you probably have to cast to pieces, or like a shredder has resolved, and I haven't answered it.
Well, so it sounds like what you're describing is that the power of a shredder surviving is that it filters my hand and this puts cards in the graveyard so I can cast a cruise, right? Like shredder is not like what ends it, because it is a good enabler for the cruise in the games where it survives for sure, right?
Yeah, but the thing about shredder is it not only fuels your cruise, it fuels your phoenixes, it fuels your what's the lightning bolt that doesn't hit face?
Fire impulse.
Yeah, it fuels your impulses. It makes it so when you draw some of the redundancy in your deck, you can get rid of it. It makes it so it pressures my life total, which you can't always do. It also is like really efficient on your curve. It allows you to interact on 2.
Well, I think we had games where I cast pieces into cruise, and that also was kind of like sealing the game. From that point when I'm +4 cards on you, it felt pretty tough.
Yeah, I think those games though was like I mentioned this on my stream, but there was a game where I kept like double push, Dreadbore, and a Croxa and 3 lands.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm really good against Shredder, but I'm really bad against no plays pieces.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, if I think Shredder's really important in the matchup, which I do, and I draw a threat or I draw a Thoughtseize, I'm in a good spot. But if my opponent doesn't have Shredder and has like cantrip, bunch of removal spells, pieces, like I'm in a bad spot.
Yeah. Well, I did cut 1 shredder for one of the games, or 2 of the games at least. Especially because of what you say, like you draw a hand of 7 cards and you're like, oh yeah, push Dreadbore. Damn, I'm really good against those shredders, and I don't have, like, I have less shredders. I will not draw it. Maybe I will just play a removal spell into pieces, and that removal spell into pieces will always beat a hand like this if you draw it.
Yeah, I definitely, I guess, my response to that is if I think that you don't value Shredder that high, then I will value. I mean, you had double Sweltering Suns, which makes it so I can't just pressure the board the entire time.
That's Sweltering Suns is also a reason as to why I don't like Young Pyro, because I find the 3 damage sweepers to be pretty effective against red-black, because they put you in a tough spot a lot. You like can't just play 2 creatures and go on. Of course, after Brothers War releases, the Suns are going to be replaced by Brotherhood's End. There was one situation where I had a Sweltering Suns and I couldn't sweep your Unlicensed Heirs. That was a bit unlucky on my side.
Yeah, and you had a Shredder in play, and I got to attack into your Shredder, which was really nice. Put you on the back foot.
Yeah, but my sideboard plan was mostly to cut the Trespass. Like, that's of course the default that everybody thinks, that the Trespass is pretty bad in the matchup, and I think there is not much to discuss here, because it's not great, and like you can't really assemble like a combo specifically, because you have to spend your cards as they go. You get discarded, you can't really get there. So I was, for the most games, I was boarding something like Spikefield Hazard, 2 Fire Impulse, Temporal Trespass, and a Galvanic Iteration, or a Shredder, or a Spell Pierce. like one of those three was typically cut. And I was bringing my draw spells from the sideboard, Abrades, Sweltering Suns. So there's 2 Abrades right now, Sweltering Suns, Behold, Cruise and Drake. I brought the Search for Ascanta for Science. It looked pretty bad that game. If it was a Crackling Drake in that game, I would be much happier. You did discard a removal to a blood token, but it would be better.
Yeah. Yeah, I was interested to know why you didn't have Drakes. Not that I think you should, but most other lists I've played have at least one post board. Some have it like one in the main. I didn't know if that was.
Well, it's just trying out stuff. Like Drake is one of the grindy cards I like the most from Phoenix sideboard. I've played many grindy cards. Like I've played Vance's Blasting Cannons, but that's only good versus red-black, and also in quotation marks because that card kind of sucks when it's in play. You tend to exile Land Phoenix with it and cry. I tried Planeswalkers, but Planeswalkers just seem kind of not good in Pioneer to me. The grindy decks all have manlands, so if you go Planeswalker minus to kill your thing, your Planeswalker can get easily killed by manland, so you kind of bleed value here, or you can get just you plus and you get Dreadboard. It's also not that big value, and Crackling Drake, just kind of nice intersection of actually dealing, like being a must deal with threat because it's gonna hit you for 7 damage in the early game and 15 in the late game, so you really need to kill it immediately. And also it is a card advantage card, good top deck, can be duressed, so like pretty nice upsides, I think.
Yeah, I agree with all of that.
But there is also one extra point I wanted to bring. Like people sometimes seem to have tons of those weird grindy cards in Phoenix's sideboards. They always it always seems like they're not super effective in the end. Or rather they are not effective enough to outweigh the fact that they're not pieces of the puzzle hits. And I think a very easy way to lose to red-black too is to hit 0 or 1 cards with pieces, and then you kind of didn't pull ahead with your free cosplay. That kind of sucks.
Yeah, you mean like Sahili or Chandra or...
Yeah, Sahili, Chandra, Jaya, Jace.
Yeah.
Ral, whatever you can think
I love it when people play those cards against me because...
Keranos.
Keranos. You need to have a good board position. You have to hope that I break on removal for it. If it's something I can't interact with, you have to hope I don't have board positioning. It doesn't get hit by pieces. Yeah.
Also, Twitch chat keeps pestering me specifically about God Eternal Kefnet because somebody somewhere got a result with God Eternal Kefnet, yes. And they
know the 3-mana one?
No, it's the 4-mana one. It's the zombified one. It's a 4/5 flyer. And it dies to push and Dreadbore. Granted, you can put it third from the top of your library instead of going to the graveyard. But it does not impress me, I think.
So you time walk yourself for a 4/5?
Yeah. Then you can do it again. So it's like reverse temporal trespass.
Yeah. Red-black gets to cast the temporal trespass.
Yeah,
I think that card is sick. You should definitely tell people to play that. It's from War of the Spark. That set was broken.
Exactly. So like your prevailing opinion was that it's a good matchup for you, right?
Yeah, I do think that it is favored for red-black. I do not think my sideboard is optimal for the matchup right now because, it wasn't super popular, and I was sort of ignoring it a bit.
Yeah, only one Go Blank. It did seem like Go Blank had a pretty high correlation with winning the game.
Yeah, I mean,
Blank.
My chat pointed out that every time I cast Go Blank, I won like 3 turns later.
Yeah.
And And there were games I won without casting Go Blank, but Go Blank definitely helps a lot with winning, especially if I have a Thoughtseize or a Hearse in play already, or I followed up with a Shield Raid or something. So I definitely think one of the Duresses might become a Go Blank, or I might cut one of the other, I don't know, like Consumes All for a Go Blank or something. But yeah, Go Blank impressed me before when Phoenix was popular. I think having 2 is probably what I would play if I was expecting, and I am expecting at least. I don't know if you saw the thing Frank Karsten tweeted this morning.
I did not.
He posted about Modern, Standard, and Pioneer deck percentages in the format, and based on some random events from the weekend, I think it was like the energies and some random other things, Phoenix is now of the second most played decks, or the second most played decks of the data that he collected.
Karsten?
Yeah. It's on the Magic GG website also.
Okay, let me find it.
And so I've just seen a lot of people talking about Phoenix and
Metagame Mentor.
Yeah, I think that was a tweet. And I thought that was interesting. Like, I don't like to put too much impact into just like random data, but I did think that him posting that was interesting, and it did.
I think people will play Phoenix at RCs in pretty large amounts.
Yeah.
What I found something, but it doesn't seem to have any Pioneer decks. Standard metagame. Sure, bro.
Yeah, you gotta scroll down quite a bit. It's Pioneer metagame snapshot.
Pioneer metagame. No, it's modern metagame snapshot. Where is Pioneer, bro?
I see.
Okay, I see it. Yeah. Record Wraith metagame share. Green Devotion 16.5.
Yeah.
Is it Phoenix with 2 arrows up and Rakdos Midrange with 2 arrows down? Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think this is a small snapshot of the actual meta, and I don't know how much you should put into this data, but I do think that it is interesting that based on these events alone, Phoenix is on the up and up.
I mean, it seemed like it was pretty consistently on the upswing since Stoyer won the MOX.
Yeah, I agree.
Showed people that you can still play the deck.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. So how do you feel about the matches we played? Do you think that was typical? Do you think there was outliers other than like the Go Blank thing?
I mean, it seemed pretty typical, like pretty clear notion. Pretty clear picture is being painted in front of me, I think. Like, as I said, if Phoenix gets the cards, like that's kind of like how Phoenix works in most matchups, really. So it's not really even red-black specific, but when Phoenix gets the card flow going, there is no stopping, and you just cast more cruises or the trespasses with game 1, and you just end up winning at some point with random value that got amassed. So it does seem like, I mean, I think these matches kind of like made me value Spell Pierce higher. Although it's been dead in my hand plenty of times too, but I think there's not that big of a deal to have a dead card in Phoenix. With between Axe and Shredder, you end up being able to discard it pretty often. So I think I will lean towards having 2 Spell Pierce versus Go Blankers. Someone has like 3 Go Blanks, and I guess I could have 3 Spell Pierce, because it is a humongous blowout. And if you have 3 Go Blanks and you board them in, assuming you keep Fables, that's 7 free mana sorceries. It does add up.
Yeah.
On top of that, like I think the random like draw spells in the sideboard are probably better for versus red black than grindy cards. But I think I will favor Crackling Drake in my sideboard because of its applications metagame wide. Because I also like it against matchups where I wouldn't want Behold the Multiverse. And it does help cobble together a plan that beats Rest in Peace with its high power. Or Leyline. But yeah, I had Behold the Multiverse in my deck. It seemed okay. It seemed pretty good to draw. Like it was like pretty meaningful one game. Showed up too late or not in a super meaningful way in the remaining games.
Yep, I agree with that.
But it did feel to me like game ones. I think I won all 4 game ones. Like it feels like game one is kind of a breeze.
Game one's close to unwinnable for me. There are sequences that I can beat you game one, but a lot of it has to do with you drawing the wrong half of your deck for the half of my deck, or like you had Sweltering Suns post board. There are very aggressive draws I can draw game one that like really pressure you. Like I think we played a post board game where I went Thoughtseize 2-drop, 3-drop, and if you don't have Sweltering Suns there, you're in danger. But like if that doesn't happen game one, or if I don't have like double Thoughtseize into like Fable or something, like game one's really bad for me. Yeah.
So that means that you're putting lots of faith into your sideboard cards. You say that you think the matchup is favorable for you overall.
Yeah. I mean, I am putting a lot of faith in my sideboard cards. I also think that like red black in general is not favored game one across the board in the format. Like whether it be against mono green or Phoenix or even like humans. And I make a lot of concessions in my main deck building for that. I think if I wanted to beat Phoenix game one, I could certainly change some of the flex spots, but then it makes me weaker against other decks in the format, like some aggro decks. Like I could put 2 Hearse in the main, put a Hearse on the board, and cut the dog and the Abrade, and then just be like, okay, like I'm weak to mono green, and I'm weak to humans, and I'm not the best against blue white game one, but I can beat those decks game two if I have another sideboard plan for them or whatever, right? So. It is just a deck building concession I am making.
But you have currently you currently have 3 power cards in the sideboard and the Duresses, which are improvements over what you're cutting, but I wouldn't say they're super game breaking. They were pretty painful, I guess. Like they were more painful than I kind of expected them to, because you can then take pieces screws, and then I'm like, oh no, what is my card advantage?
The Duresses, yeah.
But I think they're not really power cards, just like good cards in the matchup.
Yeah, it helps me be efficient against you. So I can double spell, and if I can like hit, like you said, pieces and try to strand the cruises in your hand, then you're like, there was a game where you drew like 3 lightning axes, a land, and something else on 5 cards, and I duressed you. And it was like, it didn't matter what I did there, but there are games where if you have one spell that matters in your hand and a bunch of redundancy, the rest really helps in that spot. But like realistically, maybe like I think a Go Blank is better.
My Twitch chat suggested another grindy card for the sideboard, and this time it's a really interesting one. All right.
Okay, I'm excited.
It is Eternal Scourge. I would like to know your opinion about this one.
Well, it has eternal in the name, right? So it must like never die.
Do you know what the card does?
I do know what Eternal Scourge does. Yes, okay. People have been trying to grind with that card for years now.
I mean, I think I would be decently happy. Well, I don't know. I will need to try that out, but I think I will be also decently happy sideboarding this into against humans. They play Rest in Peace, and I'm like, yeah, sure, bro. I have a colorless, unkillable Eternal Scourge.
They're like, they're playing a 2/1 Thalia, and you're like 3/3, and they go like grow the Thalia, and you're like block. Oh, you have a, and then it just like dies. It's like, oh, actually, never mind. I won't block.
Well, I wouldn't block then, just simply.
Oh, you simply, yeah, my bad. You just attack on the way back. Or like they rest in peace and you're just like, yeah, I can block forever.
Yeah. I mean, you can block the 2-1s that get pumped by Loitant, 2 3-2s, and then replay it, and then block another one. It's
Are you
probably
playing
pretty
any?
bad,
Are you playing any Shivan Reefs? You might as well just play like Thought-Knots here also.
but now we are in a joke territory, and that was a semi-serious suggestion. Because I think it does have merits, and
My bad.
pretty obviously doesn't have merits.
Would it be better if I played like some gachi music in the background?
Well, it could. Right, any other interesting things to point out? Spell Pierce, Young Pyrus, Sweltering Suns.
Did you feel any different about play draw?
I was thinking about taking the draw. Because the Phoenix removals are cheaper than the cards you answer. But kinda I don't have the balls to take the draw at the tournaments anyway, so I'll just kinda disregarded that, but I mean I did not keep track of like how many games on the draw were won, but it does really not feel like play draw plays. Like it does not feel like the tempo necessarily plays that big of a role. Like maybe the biggest tempo problems is when there is a Fable involved. But it just feels kinda probably not necessary.
Yeah, I mean,
one line that was open.
Game 1, so.
Yeah, one line that was open on the draw, but not open on the play is you play free drop, I spell pierce it, and then I play pieces, and then you have no free drop, and I have a free drop. That's cool.
Yeah, the other thing is like spell piercing my Thoughtseize earlier or something, but.
Yeah, I rarely fought spell piercing Thoughtseize, but I guess I would do that if I would have it in my opening hand. But yeah, pieces is a like sorcerer speed draw spell that you want to cast on an empty board.
Yeah.
So you probably just want to take the play.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a game where I missequenced my land and I had to play a top land on turn 3 and you pieces and do an empty board, and I'm like, okay, we lose. Like I can't. I'm dead.
Exactly.
Whereas if I play a spell, like I didn't sequence my lands incorrectly, I could have at least attacked for 3. I don't know if it would have made that big of a difference. Maybe it would have forced you to play differently that turn, but yeah, pieces on an empty board is very backbreaking.
Yeah, also Shouldered is a card. As you know, I'm the like Shouldered's #1 biggest fan in the world, but she kind of tends not to impress in the games that don't already go great for red-black. I was trying a decklist with 4 lightning axes for this too.
Yeah, I saw you at 4.
Honestly, I boarded down the 4th axe for a few of the games because of that, I think, match 1 situation where I got trapped against the graveyard trespasser flipped and I had 2 axes in my hand and I was like, okay, I have to discard all my cards.
Yeah.
Just nothing happens. And if you play draw spells, you can actually find your crews more often, kinda. And also there is one more thing is Galvanic Iteration, which when I started playing Phoenix, my assumption was to cut it in the matchup because it was a part of the combo package, but it's kind of a reasonable grindy card, so I started keeping it. I didn't have to in all the games, but I think I'll probably construct my sideboard in a way where I just keep both of them because it seems like replacing it with a Behold the Multiverse is like an improvement, but a slim one.
Yeah, I think Iteration's never really dead. It just costs a little bit more mana. Sometimes just like copying a Consider is reasonable. And it does have flashback, so it is like a think twice, I guess. but then the upside is that it copies your really good cards like Pieces and Treasure Cruise, which isn't negligible. I'm not sure if it's better than just being a Behold, which is just like a
No,
better
that's what
thing
I'm
twice,
saying.
I guess.
I'm saying that Behold the Multiverse is gonna be a better card, but
Oh, okay.
I need to commit a cyborg slot to that, and if I'm cutting Galvanic Iteration for that, then I could just like devote the cyborg slot to something else.
Yeah, from my side, I don't know if there's a substantial difference.
There's also the thing with Shouldred where she's embarrassing if she dies, and she's really threatening if she doesn't. And Galvanic Iteration can serve as a way to kill Shouldred by copying a Sphinx spell.
I know that you are Shieldred's biggest fan, and you are really advocating for me to play more Shieldreds here. But yeah, I do agree that Shieldred isn't as potent as I would like her to be. And I think the spots where Shieldred was good, it was when you were already behind on board, like you said, and you already had a bunch of threats that you had to answer.
So maybe
And
we could
Shieldred was
say
just like
that she's kind of like a win more card.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is a reasonable assessment of the card Shieldred, but I do think that there is some inherent power to it. And then the alternate is like, what is a replacement? I can't play 6 Graveyard Trespassers against you, unfortunately.
True. A card that I would try in red black if I were playing red black is the Brothers War Shade. Well, I don't know if that slots necessarily over Shouldered or anything like that, but that would be a way to lower the curve of the Rakdos deck while also being a late game threat. Although you frequently have ways to spend mana on demand lands, so that kind of mitigates the usefulness of that ability.
Yeah. That is one card I wanted to try. Phoenix is not really where I expected to shine. And I do think red-black is very mana-hungry. And the exiling of Phoenix normally doesn't matter. You also have a lot of very good ways to deal with the card early.
Yeah, I agree. It's not going to shine the matchup just in general.
Yeah, I agree in general. Yeah. The unfortunate thing is I do know that Phoenix is very weak to Planeswalkers without like spending a bunch of resources to attack it. Like before Lily was printed and I was playing Chandra. Chandra was something I left in against Phoenix because there was a lot of game sequences where I could play a Chandra and Phoenix would have a hard time interacting with it and would have to spend a bunch of resources to beat it, or else it would like outgrind them. It answered Drake really well, but it was also a liability sometimes because like you're forced to tap out on turn 4, or they do just already have Phoenixes in play.
Yeah, she's pretty poor against the card Arclight Phoenix. Which is like, once again, a strike against Planeswalkers in Pioneer. Like, you don't even play Liliana, and that feels to me like kind of... Well, no one plays Liliana red-black almost, and neither do you. It does feel to me like it's just because the Planeswalkers in Pioneer. It's kind of hostile format to them. Just all the grindy decks where they would normally excel have ways to deal haste damage, so...
Yeah, my biggest issue with Liliana out of red-black is that it is not just resource denial for your opponent, it's also resource denial for you. And there are a lot of linear strategies or linear-like strategies in the format that are much better at recouping those advantages than red-black is. For example, like Phoenix has Treasure Cruise, Pieces, even mono, like Lily's good against mono green, but they have Karn, Kiora, Cavalier, Storm. Blue-white has a lot of good cards also. And if you're discarding your resources, you have a harder time interacting with your opponent's resources, which is something you need to do at a card-for-card basis, or else you're just going to lose on average. If your resources are always exactly the same, which they aren't. So I think Liliana gives you a bit more of a failure against a lot of decks that you should be successful against. But yeah, I don't know.
He's a phenomenal.
I don't know a good
control
alternative to
player.
Shieldred, I guess.
Good stream.
Because I already cut Kalidas. I think it is kind of poopy in this matchup.
Yeah, Skaltas is like not great.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. It seems kind of like you say that you have lots of medium cards too, right? In the deck.
Yeah, I mean the deck is just a mid-range deck. It is nothing special. Fable is good, but Fable can't carry the deck on its back, unfortunately, all the time.
I also seen some people sideboard Extinction Event with Red Black versus Phoenix. What do you think of this strat?
I think it's wishful thinking. I know there are spots where Extinction Event is good. I think that usually that is not a circumstance that comes up enough where playing a 4-mana sorcery against the blue deck is good. And I also think that a lot of Phoenix decks, not all, like yours specifically, but others also just have ways to get around Extinction Event or exploit that idea. It also makes it so some amount of the time you can't commit to the board out of red black, which is something you need to do. You also have to wait. Like you only played one Drake. Let's say opponent's playing like 4 Drakes. If you Extinction Event your opponent's Drake like at a 1-for-1 because you have to, you're going to die to the Drake. You're still just losing to the card advantage. I think that
not the biggest fan of Extinction Event either. Just I've seen people do that. I do think it's trying to gear for the wrong game because like you seem favored in the games where you pressure and keep the graveyard down, and Extinction Event is try to beat me after I cast 2 Treasure Cruise or something, but that like you're gonna exile 2 Phoenixes and a Shredder. Which
the
is
damage
like cool,
is...
but I'll probably manage to cobble a win anyways.
Yeah, the damage is already done once you're casting Extinction Event. And then there are like so many spots where it's a 1-for-1, and it's like, wow, I traded Extinction Event for a Shredder, and my Phoenix opponent cast 4 spells, and I cast 1. It's like, yeah, this is not a winning proposition. I'm just going to be behind. And then it's like, what else are you cutting? Like, I have 3 Duress, Go Blank, Double Hearse. I don't know what else I have room for.
All right, Derek, do you want to play one extra match to settle it forever? Because right now we're tied to
forever.
Matches.
Yeah, yes. I'll play one more forever.
Yes. All right, let's go.
Okay, cool.
Although chat points out that you did scoop that one match, so technically.
Okay. I mean, like, if you don't want to play another match, we don't have to canister. I don't want to like lose game 1 and then beat you in 3 again.
Let's battle.
It's time to duel.
Right, disconnected from the call. Play Drake for the match 5. Yeah, I have a Drake. Have I tried Jwari Disruption? I haven't. It seems way too bad as a spell. Spikefield is actually like very close to 1-for-1 card often. As a land, yeah, I mean, but I wouldn't play a tap land. I can play a spell that can be a tap land. Chad, are you excited about the pre-release? No, they're not. I get FOTSIs on this, it's bad. If I don't get FOTSIs, it's also bad. Need to go turn 3 pieces. Need to draw their land number 3, 2 pieces. Need to axe a 2-drop. Tough, bros. I think I'm 6-1 matches against Phoenix. I mean with Phoenix against Red Black. Big Believer going full control, trying to cruise iteration piece and having all the interaction. To catch shredders. It's a keep on a play. I am on the draw, unfortunately. Or fortunately, if the draw is actually better. No, I like shredders. They need to 1-for-1 which plays into your game plan. It feels screws. Okay, well that's essentially what I've been doing. The same thing. I guess you're just saying that you cut more phoenixes and keep more removal spells. I think Crackling Drake fits well into a control plan because they 2-for-1 cards. Where's the Crash of Tentacles, bro? What are you talking about? Lucky. I think I Shredder. Please don't play a Trespasser. I think you chart. I understand that, but if you place a Trespasser on the next turn, I really want to attack with Shredder and draw 2. Yeah, I mostly disagree with cutting iteration or Pierce, otherwise I like the sideboard plan. Sure. I mean, I think, like, I get what you're saying, and I think it's true. I was trying to sideboard more sideboard cards, trying to try sideboard more sideboard cards, but I think I'll just try to structure my sideboard in a way where I just don't move away too hard from the sideboard plan, like from the game 1 plan, and then just win, because it seems like game 1 wins. Good looking, Sophia. Thanks. But yeah, you also want your grinding card to be good top deck. Drake is a good top deck. It's kind of the big thing. Can try to high roll. Tricky. I think it's kind of greedy to bottom this. You need to draw an opt or a firing. No, just an opt, I guess. Trespasser. It's kind of rough. Two trespasser bros, fucking trespasser, exiling my phoenix. Trespasser shouldn't have an ETB. Aggressive discarding the phoenix. Would you discard lightning axe? I mean, I still have a phoenix in my graveyard if trespasser enters. Kind of dead versus Manland activation though. Maybe we should play 4 Impulse over 4 Axe. I will not play 4 Axes. 4 Axes is too much, definitely. I will play... Next time I'll play Fires of Victory. ×1. I think. You can die to Joldred. It's a bit awkward. So I have to consider that. I mean, Fires doesn't kill Joldred either. I think you just keep the fork and copy your forks to kill the Joldred and you keep the impulses probably. Yeah, Fires of Victory kind of sucks too. Being bad against this card is so rough. Search for Ascanta, I kinda dismissed that one. I got into play once and I cut it. Could play Rose, not main deck. Because you can actually impulse a Trespasser, it's fine, but then casting Axis is a bit tough. If you want a 2-for-1 removal, the best is Beacon Bolt. No, I want to be able to kill Shoulder and Adeline. That's my goal. Third spell piece is overpowered for me. I have 3 spell pieces in my deck. Bro, fuck off. What the hell? But drawing 3 axes is just too devastating. I need to draw 2 more phoenixes or something. Well, Beacon Bolt also costs 2 mana and not 3. Some people play the Blitz of Thunder Raptor. That's kinda too bad to me. We got trespassed. Alright, so let's keep the forks. Cut a phoenix with the advice from the Twitch chatter. I'm on the play. Oh, this cat. New call overdose 100% of the time. Yeah, maybe. Oh no, you don't because Sholdred. 1 trespass wouldn't be too bad. No, I have 4 crews in my deck. It's definitely too bad. It's way too bad. You have Wax for Sholdred. Sure, I wanted to increase the total amount of Shoulder Dancers in my deck from what I had to something a little bit more than what I had. Let's fill my graveyard, can draw an extra land. Blood Cryptid. No, I'm not gonna play Blitz or Beacon Bolt. I'm gonna, yeah. I guess you're right. I guess that's what you said. Like out of those things, like just a cross problem with iteration versus not iteration, just killing Shouldered and Adeline, just kind of hard to have enough damage. I was so happy to play this into my sweeper, bros. Probably could have taken Spikefield Hazard to make a land drop. But this feels really good when you get to sweep the 2 creatures like this. The casting pieces really advantageous. But yeah, I would have been happier making a land drop. Shoulder it. Sure, bro. You play 2 Brazen Borrow in the 75 to sort to answer Sheldred Adeline Hairs. You don't answer those cards with these. Unlikely to pierce anything anymore. I want Cruise. That's good. Brazen Borrower doesn't really answer Hairs, rest in peace. Doesn't even answer the Adeline properly. I don't think that's valid at all. I think the only card that it answers is Leyline. And even that is sketchy because the black decks play Leyline sometimes. Ooh. Bros, I'm getting hacking crocs at unless the bug helps me out. Let's play Unleashed and Infernal Soul problems. Just need to work on the mana a bit. Okay, I will. You very well could have removal. I think it's pretty likely for him to have removal. At this point. But I just can't hold myself. I need to keep the Crackling Drake. One Phoenix Exile. There's one more in my graveyard. My sideboard. Six mana Crocs are still too good. He might have push and then he doesn't have revolt, so he needs Dreadbore. Bro, no, stop. Now he gets to activate the Manland too. I don't feel so good, Mr. Chat. Thank you for the raid, Mattia. Phoenix, good. Lightning Axe, Treasure Cruise. Only one Phoenix, that's not good. When are you coming to Sofia? I'm leaving on Thursday. If he has a push, we can activate Revolt now, which is a little bit not cool. Today is Thursday. Yeah, I'm coming right now. I'm in the process of coming. Can't you see? Phoenix. He's the winner, bros. Misplacedginger proved that the matchup is favored for red-black. I think I don't want to cut Phoenix. I think that sounds like not much benefit. You have 0 Phoenix in deck. No, I had 3 Phoenixes in the deck. But the upside of cutting seems kind of low, and like multiples don't really like they punish you to an extent, but not really. Not to an extent where you actually benefit much from doing so. I think trimming of a Shredder is better than trimming of a Arclight Phoenix. I think this more often is a dead draw, and it's also a pieces hit. You just want pieces hits in your deck. So I think I've got most of the matchup figured out, and it's a close matchup, and it's fine. They're supposed to beat opponent before Croxa. Can beat Croxa with Phoenixes. Like, if you cut Phoenixes, that's definitely a bit awkward. You can beat Croxa with Axe plus Spikefield Hazard if you draw enough cards. Although, it's a bit tough to assemble. Also, thank you everyone for the subs. Twitch chatters, we've got 675 subs. That is quite a number. That means that I will raid Ginger now, because he became the King of Pioneer by pass down. Or you can Spikefield, they cast a 2-mana version. I think he discarded it. New 24-hour stream. Maybe someday. And I mean, Spikefielding a Croxa is pretty rough one. You not gonna do that too often. Let's rate Derek, and thank you, Derek, for the games. It was pretty insightful. See you tomorrow, broskies. Yeah, I didn't even write the cyborg guide, and it's already pumping these apps up. See you tomorrow.